So, my husband has a favorite pair of flannel pajama pants. I'm guessing he's not the only one. I have a favorite pair of pajama pants too. Probably some of you do too. Anyway, he ripped a massive hole, like, the pocket got caught on something and went, whack. And he was sad. And so he said to me a couple days ago, "Can you fix my pajama pants?" And these are his favorites, right? So that means there are like the elastic part, like there's like strings coming off of it and everything, but still, "Can you fix my pajama pants?" Okay, so I did. And the good news is I already had a piece of flannel that was washed and ready to go because I had made Christmas pajama pants for the family. And so all I had to do was slap that sucker on there and anyway, easy peasy. But when I was thinking about, you're like, what does that have to do with burning bull? Ready? Here it comes. Okay, because if I hadn't had a piece of already washed flannel to put on his pajama pants, I couldn't have fixed it right when he asked. Because if you put brand new fabric that hasn't been washed on fabric that has been washed, it'll go in the wash, right? Because with new fabric, you're gonna have to wash it once for it to shrink, right? And see, you were wondering how I was gonna get there, but I got there. So today is our burning bowl service, and you might be wondering, what does that mean? Well, this is the last day of the year, and this is the time where we release the things that we don't want to take with us anymore into the new year, and we have some opportunity for letting go. Just like we can't put new fabric on old fabric, we have to clean it out. And so burning bowl, so in Unity we have these great things called the 12 powers. The 12 powers are just aspects of who we are, of our Christ potential, but we split it into 12 pieces to make it a little easier to kind of like work on different parts. So there's faith and love and zeal and order and all sorts of things like that, which help us have different foci. But one of them is renunciation, which is a word that we don't use much anymore, but it means release. And somewhere in here is a revealing word. There it is. And so this release, this power of release is something that people sometimes forget about. It's a really important one. They're all really important. But if we don't do this one, we can start to have some problems. And come on, you want to be found. I know you're in here. Oh, it helps if I'm looking for the right word. I was looking for release when I actually should be looking for renunciation. It's amazing when you look in the right place, right? So, in the revealing word, Charles Fillmore's definition of renunciation is a letting go of old thoughts in order that new thoughts may find place in consciousness. A letting go of old thoughts in order that new thoughts may find place in consciousness. A healthy state of mind is attained when the thinker willingly lets go of the old thoughts and takes on the new. A healthy state of mind is attained when the thinker willingly lets go of the old thoughts and takes on the new. So you have to make room, right? It's really interesting, when a story shows up in Matthew, Mark, and Luke, it makes you go, must be a really good little saying, right? And there's that one that we've probably heard before. No one puts new wine into old wineskins. Otherwise, the wine will burst the skins and the wine is lost. So are the skins. But one puts new wine in fresh wineskins. Heard that before, right? And I was like, well, so what happens? Because if I buy wine, it comes in a bottle from Costco. I don't have wineskins. It's not like part of my normal experience, right? So I was like, well, what's that about? So I looked it up, and I found out that old wineskins have been stretched to the limit, and they become brittle after having stored wine. And so if you were to put new wine in, it would shatter. And so that's a great example from scriptures and this idea of releasing old ideas. Non-attachment is something that you'll hear as a thread that goes through all major world religions. Forgiveness is all connected into that same thing. What kind of things do we want to let go of? There's a lot of things that I'm ready to let go of that happened in this year or previous years, or little nuggets that you go, why? Why am I holding on to that? Yesterday I responded to 2 emails that have been sitting in my email box that I'd forgotten about, and then I remember, like, when I'm driving or in the shower and you can't do anything about it, and then by the time you're done you forget about it again. I had 2 emails. One of them was 6 months old. I responded that to sucker yesterday because I was like, I'm done. I don't want to think about these things anymore. I don't want to take that into the new year. Now it's on them. But our new thoughts need a new place, right? So I was thinking, I'm like, what would be what does that look like? You know, because we think about, there's so many examples of needing to clean out room. You know, if you get when you were a kid and you got new toys at Christmas, you had to clean out the old toys, right? If we have a new idea about how we want to live our lives, we have to actually let go of the old way of living our lives, right? So, bear with me, here we go. So, these represented thoughts, we might say. Well, look, I've got this great little snowman type sock on. See, snowman, very cute. But it's not really snowman season anymore. So we'll just cover that up. It's kind of like a Valentine's thing, right? Pink sock. Okay. Oh, but then, you know, I gotta go work out, so a little workout sock. Yes, I've got one sock. Okay. Oh, but it's really cold out, so I'll put my wool sock on. Whew. Maybe. Come on. Whew. Well, then this is for when it gets warmer. My favorite color. Oh. And then, warm and fuzzy. It's for wandering around the house, right? Because it slides really good on the linoleum. Ooh, okay. Now let's see. I put my shoes back. Oh. Can't put my shoes back on now. It won't fit. And it's going to be very warm very fast too, right? That's as ridiculous as thinking that we can have a new thought without getting rid of the old thoughts. You would say, well, of course maybe 2 layers of socks. It is winter, right? But after that, we say, you know, you have to take them off and wash them before you put the next one on, right? So same thing with our thoughts. If we decide, maybe we decide, I'm going to think good things about myself and not be a downer. Well, okay, if you're not going to be a downer, then you're going to have to actually let go of those misbeliefs, like I'm not worthy, or I'm ugly, or I'm fat, or I'm stupid. Whatever the misbelief is that allows you to think that you can't do whatever it is you want to do. You actually have to let go of that misbelief if you want to move forward. Otherwise, it's like trying to put on a shoe with 5 socks on, or however many socks I put on. I don't know, it was a lot. The funny thing is these shoes fit best without socks at all. So, and so that's why we have a burning bowl ceremony. And I think, taking the time to think about what we want to release in order to make room for our good is something we should do not more than once a year. Definitely more than once a year. But here is the time of year when people are like making resolutions and I'm going to make the changes. But you know, you can't make the change if you don't make room for the change. So that's what we're going to do today. Next week is the intention setting day. But you may already have some ideas about this. So I'm going to explain to you what we're going to do. And I'm going to take off my very crazy amount of socks because this is getting ridiculous. So you can't last very long with too many socks on. It just doesn't work. Oh. Freedom. Did you hear that? Freedom. Yes. You take off what doesn't work. Freedom. So what we're going to do is we're going to have our meditation time, and hopefully most of you have the little tissue paper slips. If you didn't get one, there's some out there, and there's little there should be enough pens scattered underneath the seats there if you didn't get didn't get a pen. And this is another wonderful use for hymnals. They make great things to write on or to use as a hard surface. And so we're going to have our meditation time, and in that we'll have an opportunity to think about what you might want to release. And then you'll write that on your little piece of paper. And then I'm going to move this candle up here, and this is tissue paper, so it's not like flash paper where it'll go poof real fast, but it'll go pretty fast. So you just touch it and stick it in the bowl, and then let those things release. It's pretty great. And then when you're up here, you can we have a piece of paper and an envelope, and you'll take that back. That'll be part of what we talk about at our meditation. And this is a letter to yourself, to your future self. And someday in the spring or summer, I will say, today's the day, and I'll put stamps on return address labels on them, and I'll put them in the mailbox, and it'll show up, and it'll be the perfect day for it to arrive with you, which is usually how people tell me it happens when it happens. And this is a letter for whatever clarity that comes upon you today, for you to remind yourself, because this is the thing, right? We have all these grand intentions. I let go of my resentment of my cousin and that thing that happened 20 years ago. I let it go. I'm ready to be over with it. Are you going to remember that in 6 months? I hope so. But just in case, you can remember that. If you've had a clarity about the truth of your being, that who have you come here to be, or if you just understand that, whatever you want to remind yourself in approximately 6 months, whenever I have that wild hair to send them out, whatever you want that to look like, this is what you write in your little letter to yourself. Use kind and loving and gentle. Be as sweet and caring as you would want to be taken care of, because this is you getting to take care of yourself in the future. It's kind of a neat thing. And then you may or may not finish your letter before we kind of move into the closing of our service, and that's okay. You can stay in here and finish writing as long as you want. When you're done, you just write your address on there and fold it up, and you can stick it in the offering envelope. It'll get to me. You can stick it in the hand it to me, whatever you want to do. And then, like I said, at some point, it'll magically show up in your mailbox. Not magically, through the magic of the U.S. Postal Service. So that's what we're going to do. And some other important things to know. So you may have noticed that this is not very big. And you might say, I have a lot to say that I'm ready to get rid of. Well, that's excellent, but you can probably put it in a bullet point. I have seen people write the whole story about their resentment over their cousin from 20 years ago. And then almost start a fire in the church because of their need to write the copious story. If you're ready, really ready to be over it, you don't need to write the story. You can say resentment of my cousin, fill in the blank, their name. If you're really ready to say, you know, I'm done with fear, we don't have to say fear of this and fear of that. You can just write fear. Done. I mean, and there's two sides. There's plenty of room. And I have more. If you really, you know, if you decide you really have a lot you want to get rid of. But I bet you can get a lot on there bullet point wise if you decide that you have a lot of things you're ready to let go of. Because here's the thing, if we still really want to tell the story, then you're not letting go of it because you like the story. Oops. This is what I tell people. You can tell that you're over something if you can tell the story of what happened as dispassionately as the narrator of a documentary. And then and then she did it. Difference, right? So that's the difference, and that's what we're aiming for, is moving towards that. And here's the thing, you'll forget, and you might forget that you decided to get rid of that whatever resentment, feeling, story, belief. It's okay. Here's what's really great about this is a symbol. This isn't magically fixing it. This is a symbol of our intention to let go of that misbelief. So when we realize, oh, I'm having a fearful thought, we don't say, oh, it messed up, it didn't work. We say, I let that go, and I'm letting it go again. And then when it happens again, because it will, because that's how our brains work, we say, I let that go, and I'm letting it go again. And you can remember that moment when you saw it, when you saw it burn. I'm letting it go, and I'm letting it go again. And you do it again, and again, and again. And eventually you retrain your brain not to go there anymore. This is a symbol of an intention. You get to make it last. Okay? Okay. Making sure I didn't forget to say anything before we meditate. Okay. So the rest of our time together, we're going to, like I said, move into our meditation. And then we will have some time in the silence and some time to think about that and what we want to write. And then when you feel led, you will come up and do your candle thing. Remember, fire into the bowl. And then you can grab a piece of paper and an envelope to write your letter. So I'll put those there. Okay. Would someone mind getting the lights? All right. Thanks, Roger. Okay, so everybody's got a little paper. Everybody's got a pen. Okay, let's settle in. I'll just invite you to get comfortable. Let those breaths move in and out. Noticing and relaxing. Allowing the chair to support the body. Allowing ourselves to just be here, present. distractions. We set aside concern and allow an open heart, an open mind to just be present in that, knowing in that connection with allness, that all that is. Breathing into this space of peace and calm. We allow for awareness to come of those things, ideas, misbeliefs, old thoughts that are not congruent with who we are and where we're going. And if we have those ideas about what those might be, ask yourself, am I willing, am I ready to let this go? To make room for something better? And if the answer is yes, yes, I am willing to let this go, or I am willing to be willing to let this go, you can write it on your paper. We continue this process as things might come to mind. Am I willing? Am I ready to let this go? And if so, write it down. As you write your letter, well, you might still be working on your releasing. That's okay too. You don't need to make it perfect. I'm sure the future you will forgive spelling errors. But let it come from the heart. What do you want the future you